Why life truly begins at 40, the awakening you never expected. All right, let's cut through the noise. They've been feeding you a lie. You know the one, that by 40, life's supposed to slow down, that your wildest days are behind you, and it's time to trade big dreams for quiet routines. Maybe you felt it creeping in, the pressure to settle, to shrink, to call it a day. But I'm here to tell you something different, something real. Life doesn't fade at 40. It ignites. This isn't some pep talk to pat you on the back. It's a wake-up call, loud and clear. At 40, something clicks, something raw and alive. Those messy years before, the fights, the doubts, the late nights, wondering if you'd ever get it right, they weren't dead ends. They were the forge, shaping you into someone tougher, wiser, ready. Ready for what, you ask? Well, pull up a chair, because if you're anywhere near 40 or already there, this is for you. Let's unpack it together. When it all clicks. Picture your 20s for a sec. Wild, right? You were a tornado of hope and chaos, sprinting through life trying to figure out who you were. Maybe you bounced between jobs, chasing a paycheck or a passion, or both. Maybe you fell hard for someone, only to crash harder when it fell apart. It was loud, messy, beautiful, brutal, all at once. You were building a life, but it felt more like throwing paint at a wall, hoping something stuck. Then your 30s rolled in and the heat turned up. Suddenly, it wasn't just about you anymore. There were bills to pay, mouths to feed, goals to chase. You hustled hard, built a career, maybe a family, a home. You hit milestones, crossed finish lines, but even then, something nagged at you. You'd look in the mirror after a win and think, why don't I feel done? What's still out there? And then 40. It's like someone flips a switch. The fog clears, and you see. The worries that used to claw at you, they don't bite as hard. The voices telling you what you should be, they're just noise now. That question, what's my life for? It's not a riddle anymore. It's a spark. You're not scrambling to solve it, you're starting to live it. Why does this hit at 40? Because you've earned it. You've stumbled enough to know where the ground is. You've loved enough to know what lasts. Like that old Greek thinker Socrates said, an unexamined life isn't worth living. And by now, you've examined plenty. You've got scars and stories to prove it. So you ready to lean into this? Because it only gets better from here. The freedom of letting go. Here's where the magic kicks in. By 40, you figure out how to let go, and it changes everything. Think back. Didn't you used to cling to stuff like it was your lifeline? A friendship that drained you dry, but you stayed because you didn't want to be alone. A job that sucked the soul out of you, but quitting felt too risky. Even old ideas about who you're supposed to be, someone louder, quieter, richer, whatever. You held on tight, knuckles white, because letting go sounded like giving up, like losing. But then life hands you enough curveballs, and you learn. You've had your heart broken and stitched it back together. You've bet on dreams that didn't pan out and still got up the next day. By 40, you realize holding on isn't strength, it's a trap. So you start dropping the weight. You wave goodbye to people who don't get you. Not out of anger, but peace. You ditch plans that don't fit anymore. Not because you failed, but because you've grown. It's like cleaning out your closet. You toss the old stuff, and suddenly there's room to breathe. And here's the kicker. Letting go doesn't feel like falling. It feels like flying. You've got space now. Space for a new idea, a quiet hobby, a version of you that's been waiting to step out. I knew a guy who spent his 30s climbing the corporate ladder, miserable until 40 hit. He quit, started brewing coffee in his garage, not for money, just joy. Now he's got a little shop, grinning every day. That's what letting go does. It hands you back your life. Feel that tug yet? It's calling you forward. Time isn't your enemy. You grew up with this invisible clock ticking, graduate by 22, nail a career by 25, settle down by 30, be set by, well, yesterday. Every birthday, you'd tally up what you hadn't done yet, thinking, I'm behind. But at 40, that clock stops feeling like a jailer and starts feeling like a friend. Rushing didn't make you happy, it just made you tired. Life's not a race, it's a road trip, and you get to pick the stops. There's no too late. There's just your time. Vera Wang didn't touch a wedding dress design until 40. Bryan Cranston hit Breaking Bad at 51. My cousin Maria raised kids, worked odd jobs, then started a bakery at 42. These aren't exceptions. They're proof. So what if you're not where you thought you'd be? Good. You're exactly where you need to be to start something real. Time's not running out, it's opening up. Finding your why. When you were younger, you hunted for it like buried treasure. You tried jobs, relationships, big moves, thinking, this'll fill the gap. But even when it worked, it didn't stick, because your why isn't something you grab, it's something you grow. And at 40, that fire starts burning bright. You look back, all the highs, the lows, the detours, and it's not just a scrapbook anymore, it's a map. Every fall taught you how to stand. Every win showed you what you're made of. Maybe your why is to create, like my friend Jen, who picked up a paintbrush at 41 and now sells art. Maybe it's to guide, like Satya Nadella, who led Microsoft at 46. Or maybe it's to heal, to be the rock someone needs. I met a woman at 43 who felt numb in her cubicle. At 40, she started volunteering. Now she runs a shelter. That's your why finding you. It's not loud, it's steady. And when it hits, you're not wandering anymore. You're walking your path, living for you. For years, you played the game, being the kid your parents bragged about, the partner who never rocked the boat, the worker who never said no. You twisted yourself to fit, chasing approval. Then 40 lands, and you're over it. You drop the script. You ask, what do I want? And you listen. You say no and mean it. You chase what sets your soul on fire. Like my neighbor Tom, he ditched his soul-crushing desk job at 40 to build furniture. He's not rich, but he's alive. That's the gift of 40. You become your own compass. Life stops feeling heavy. It's not about proving anything anymore. It's about being something. Your days get richer, simpler, truer. You're not just here, you're fully here. So if you're knocking on 40's door, standing in it, or looking back, this is your moment. That rumble inside, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. Your best chapter isn't done, it's starting. You're not winding down, you're waking up. If this rings true, drop 11101 in the comments, tell me your story, and if you're ready, subscribe, join us. People who know 40 is not the end, but the launch. Thanks for being here. Catch you next time.